Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the View 52 Challenge. I'm your host, Jack Pinchuk, and joining me once again on our journey through classic cinema is the wonderful Alex. Almost went the wrong way. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's we're almost at the end of this. I don't mean to get emotional, but it's almost time to stop doing this show. This month we really kicked it up with the Vincent Price of it all, just in time for Thanksgiving. I think that's when this is gonna. Nope, that's not right.
No. Whatever. Yeah, a lot of Vincent Price this month, and that's always a good thing. And once again, joining us is Melissa. Melissa, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it feels like we're maybe like prematurely mourning the show because we're all wearing black today. So maybe that's the vibe. I don't know.
Complete accident. It's really weird.
No, I'm excited to be here. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's been a long day. I watched 4 of these movies today, and so that's always so much fun to do. Yeah. I guess we can just get into it. Challenges for this month were a film by Roberto Rossellini, a film released in 1953, a classic Universal Monsters film, and a film by Frank Capra, as well as a horror film, with it being spooky season and all. It seemed like an appropriate challenge for this month. I guess we can just get into it. A film by Roberto Rossellini, one of the greatest Italian directors out there. I guess we can just start with a bang here. Alex, tell us about The Machine That Kills Bad People.
I'm gonna save my editorials for later. Because I've got a lot to say about Rossellini. The Machine That Kills Bad People is the comedy of this week. Now, I'm not saying that. The movie is saying that. That is how the film opens. The film opens saying, "Don't worry, this is a joke. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you. It's a joke." The Machine That Kills Bad People is about a machine that kills bad people. It is about a small, kind of isolated Italian town that has a lot of problems going on in it. Everyone is poor and broke. The town is very isolated, so the only kind of income they have is fish, which is really weird, I think. They have a town dictator. They have a town fascist. They have I believe it is the dictator who's married to the woman that owns everyone in town. She has all of the debts bought, and she is charging massive, just massive interest on everything. I think someone says 600% interest. That's a totally completely normal number. Everyone's poor. Everyone's got these problems. There's Americans that are coming. It's a whole thing. These Italians are going through a lot of problems. And in the middle of it all, the very beginning of the movie, as these Americans are traveling to town, they hit and nearly kill a guy. That's the first thing that happens in the movie. It really sets the tone. That guy turned out to be allegedly the town's founding saint, Saint Andres, or Saint Andrew if you're an English speaker. And eventually, through the course of reasons, the main character, who is the town photographer, acquires from the alleged town saint a camera. And he says, this camera, you see, if you take a picture of someone, if they are bad, they will die. And the guy's like, nah, probably not though, right? And he just starts taking pictures of people who I may have mentioned earlier, and then, let the hilarity of murdering people ensue. It can be funny to hear about. I'm not saying go out and kill someone. I'm saying that if someone does die, it can be actually very funny, especially if they die in a funny position, if they, whatever. The machine that kills bad people is kind of interested in what happens in like the aftermath of a death, how things can collapse, how problems can arise. However, it is an Italian film, so you should know that it is not particularly funny, emotionally engaging in any way. I would also say that this movie is kind of like, this movie's funny comes in like background moments, like how the town comes together in hatred of someone, like the fascists or his wife or a random American woman that is just like, oh my god, a boat. And she this that's what The Machine That Kills Bad People is about. I really do like some of the conclusions that it gets to. Is like, what if the donkey's bad? Like, that's a great like, you're just left with a joke in your head of like, what did that donkey do? What? Why is that donkey bad? Oh no. Is it an evil donkey? Did that donkey murder? And then you're just kind of left. But I think ultimately the conclusion of the movie is bad. What does that mean? We're all a little bad. Like, come on. And that's the kind of moral incomplexity that you're really looking for in a movie called The Machine That Kills Bad People. Just like a light, airy Italian nonsense. It's been a minute since we've gotten one of those. I feel like all of our Italian movies have been like La Strada.
I guess, yeah.
Or Divorce Italian style.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. You're bringing me back. Okay. Yeah. I do remember that one.
That's a quick trip down memory lane for you. Yeah. This movie was better than I expected it to be. There are just some moments of people just cussing each other out, and that's all that's really going on in the scene. Like, there's a moment in this movie where a bunch of people who are like supposedly the politicians of this small town, they're watching the mayor walk away with these two random people that showed up and pulled them away from this town meeting on how to spend the money that they've been miraculously given by Rome, or the capital, or whatever the heck the capital is. I think it's Rome. And they're watching him walk away, and one of them starts by saying, just out of fucking nowhere, "You're really ugly when you laugh." And then it's just them trading insults until one of them says cuckold, and then someone's like, "Yeah, that's the one." It's just it's a weird vibe, this movie. It's got some funny moments, like I said, but it's just, there's something about it that just feels off to me. I don't know what the pacing's not great, but like, I had a good enough time with it. I gave it 3.5. Like, it's pretty comfortable there. It's one that I'm glad I saw, because I'm always glad to watch another Rossellini movie, because trying to get through as many of those as I can. But it's definitely my least favorite of the ones I've seen from him. That there's more I could say, but I don't want to take everything from Melissa.
No, you're fine. I don't have too much more to add, I don't think. I do really like the beginning and end, how it like kind of opened and ended like a storybook, because it had like the guy with like the little like miniatures, like, so I appreciate that kind of quirkiness. I just kind of wish there was maybe more quirkiness throughout the entire film. I kind of struggle when it is kind of this elevated reality, but then like everything is normal, like the way that it physically looks. I just kind of wish maybe it was a little bit more kooky. I will say, I thought the funniest moment was with the coffin. They had to like custom make that coffin for that guy. Like that was the only part that actually made me like laugh out loud. Everything else, yeah, the jokes are kind of like almost delayed. It's like, oh, like from a scene like before. So I kind of feel like this might deserve like a rewatch at some point, just because at least I'll kind of know what to expect going into it, and maybe I could like get the jokes more, because obviously being in a foreign language too, it's like the comedic timing might not always work, you know, because I don't speak Italian, so it's going to be delayed a little bit anyways, but maybe just going into it knowing it a bit more might be good. But I will say something we haven't talked about, I don't think, is that little devil guy. He was really cute.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
all I
fair.
You're right.
That's fair. We got two more movies to talk about. Both of them part of like a trilogy of sorts. It's kind of like the Cornetto trilogy in the sense of trilogies. Like, it's not narratively connected, that's just thematically connected. So we'll start with the first one in that trilogy, and we'll go to you, Melissa, with Rome Open City.
Sure. So Jack and I are different. I don't want to really go through the Rossellini movies. I'll kind of say a little bit more of my opinion about him now. I respect his movies more than I enjoy them. All three of those movies that we watched this week, none of them are bad movies. I just didn't really enjoy my time with really any of them. And yeah, this one, so the general plot is a resistance leader is trying to escape. And that's like the main gist of the story. I will say a strength to all of these movies is all these people feel like very real people. Like they look like real people. It feels just like a day in the life of all these people. So like I do appreciate that like realism of it all. Yeah, this story, considering like the time period we're in and like what it is, it just felt pretty boring. And then it only had a few kind of emotional peaks that were intense. But it felt, when I think about the movie, it just feels kind of flat, I guess. I don't know. Like it's not like one I want to revisit at this point. But it's a well-made movie. There's nothing like inherently wrong with it. I would rather watch other things at this point.
That's fair. Alex?
I did not care for Rome Open City. I also did not care for Germany Year Zero. We'll get to that in a minute. I think the biggest problem with Rome, I'll say this. Actually, Rome Open City is a fine movie. It is not enjoyable. It is not particularly fun to watch. There are no jokes. There is nothing. You are dropped into the middle of it. And you better hope that you caught everyone's name, because if you didn't, like, your life is going to be really weird for the next 220 or so, or whatever it is. Like, it's a fairly long movie for you not to know who anybody is or how they know each other, or like that you are just dropped in the middle of it, which is fine for some things and not fine for everything. For everything else. Rome Open City is a very complicated movie. It is like Battle of Algiers kind of complicated, where there's lots of simultaneous plots and stuff going on. I think it is a worse Battle of Algiers, actually. I think it's pretty significantly worse. I don't think the acting is all there. I will say that there are two performances that I really did enjoy.
Is it the woman who played Pina? Is that what her name was?
No, well, you know what? I did not particularly. I did not care for Anna no, Italian last name. Anna. I didn't. I mean, her performance is fine. She's not in a terribly large amount of it.
I was trying to kind of like challenge myself to see if I remember anyone's name because I kind of agree with what
You
you
did get
said.
Pina. Like Pina is her name in the movie.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I don't remember anyone else.
Anna Magnani. Sure. But no, I really did appreciate the main priest. And there's also this German official who comes in very, very late in the game, I think, just to give one of the best speeches I've heard in a minute about like a guy goes, he has this speech about like, but this guy's like, well, we're the master race, and he's like, we're the master race, huh? And this is just German official who is past the point of questioning being the master race, and he is in the point of we're not, but like we're fighting. I mean, I don't know. And he's just like deep in the throes of that part of his life. He's like an older German official. What's this guy's name? Jupp von Holtzen, Captain Hartmann, as this official who's just like very, very past this concept of Nazism and the German, the German master race. I thought the priest was very good, but I don't know. There is something like very dry about Rome Open City, and I'm not like looking for jokes. Like to be clear, I don't need jokes with my Nazis. I think that's like really weird. Not looking at anyone in specific, in particular, Taika Waititi. Not looking at anyone in particular. I don't need jokes with my Nazis, but you do need something to attach to that isn't just, oh no, this guy's not going to get married in time. Like, I don't care at all. 0%. You are just kind of stuck there for like 220 if you decide to watch Rome Open City. You are going to be bored a significant amount of time.
I mean, it's an hour 45, but okay.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's my God.
Minutes. It's 103 minutes. Yeah. But no, here's the thing. This falls into the category of movies that normal people would say, that was very well made. I'm not going to watch that again. I'm glad I did, so I can say, yeah, I saw that movie and I thought it was well done, just not my thing. And then it's in that same category is the one where Jack will say, that was fantastic, and I will watch that again at some point because I need to feel pain. So
it's not even nothing worth. It's fine.
I mean, a lady gets shot in the street, my guy. That does happen in the movie. But anyway, I thought the performances were great. The priest, Don Pietro, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. He's my favorite part of this film. I thought he was fantastic. There's a scene in this movie that where someone is being tortured, and until that point in film, that was the longest scene of its kind, and which is a fun fact I learned from IMDb's trivia or fun facts about the movie or whatever. So who knows how reliable that is, but it's there. And that scene made my stomach turn. A lot of moments here, and in the one we'll talk about in a moment, made my stomach turn. And it's a lot to take in at points, or at least I found it to be. I'm glad I saw it. It's not my favorite Rossellini. It's probably not my second favorite Rossellini either, because Stromboli's number one, and then the one we're about to talk about is number two, probably. But this is, I thought this was very well done. Very excellent film. We'll wrap up the Rossellini week with a movie that someone saw and immediately after messaged, "Holy hell, Jack!" And that was it for a minute, and I had a heart attack. And yeah, it's Germany Year Zero. This movie is just depressing. It's set in post World War II Germany, which is already going to make for a tough film to watch because it's you're whenever here's the thing, whenever I watch World War II movie, like I haven't seen very many World War II movies that are set in Germany like at that time, like post-war. Like that's just not something that I've seen before in a movie, I think. And it was kind of jarring just to see what the lives of these ordinary people in this post-war era of Germany are like. A lot of the performances in this are done by non-actors, and like some have said you can tell at times, but I thought they were excellent for the most part, especially the child, like the main kid whose name escapes me at the moment. I thought he was fantastic. He's the perfect point of view character, in my opinion, for this film. There's moments that made me sick. There's moments that made me tear up, but I think I'm not going to say it for anyone watching that hasn't seen this movie, which I expect are both people that are watching this, because not as many people have seen this movie. The scene with the dad, the last scene with the dad, legitimately like almost made me cry. It was one that deeply affected me, and yeah, it's one that I have no plans to watch anytime soon, but further down the line will probably find myself coming back to. It's just something that's probably going to happen, but that's not going to be for a very long time. It's one that's going to stick with me a long time. It's just it's definitely one that leaves an impression.
I'll keep this short and sweet. I will say this was probably my favorite just because I was actually emotionally moved versus the other two, I just not as much. With that said, I do think the three of us have been trauma bonded by this film. If you like it or not. That's it.
That's fair.
When I imagine myself talking about Germany Year Zero, I knew I'd have to be fighting Jack. I didn't know I was going to have to take on Melissa too.
No, you're fine. It's not like this is my favorite movie of all time by any means.
I can't imagine possibly caring about Germany Year Zero in any positive or negative way. I just can't. I think actually I know what it is. It's like Rome Open City mixed with like Bicycle Thieves in the sense of like, look how bad this is. And then I think everyone's struggling like this. And just from a plot perspective, I think that's my big problem with it. There's nothing structurally wrong with Germany Year Zero besides the fact that I'm not interested in it. In its contents, I'm not particularly interested in it. I think the thing that really bothers me about Germany Year Zero is that I can tell that these are not actors. I don't completely agree with Jack. I disagree completely with Jack, actually. I think the lead boy is not good. Like early 2000s child actor, not good. I think he's doing the thing. I think he's doing the thing where he has to hit his marks. Like there's a scene in a bombed out building. He's like jumping from like thing to thing. And I can tell he's like been told to jump and make sure the camera's there before he makes the next jump. But in his head, he's not thinking about what his character is thinking about. He's like, I have to jump here. I have to jump here. I have to jump here. Never, completely ignorant of what's going on in the movie. He is not pointing to the camera. He is not emoting. And I know that's like the point of Italian neo-realism is to get a performance so gritty because it comes from, real people that aren't trained at. But I think on some level, that is bullshit. Like something inherently is lost where, imagine if you get the child actors from later on from at least an actor of similar work experience as like the boy from The Innocents, for example, which we'll talk about later. Imagine a kid who's made like 5 or 6 movies coming to this, and he's given this like really intense subject matter. Now we're talking about a completely different movie because the lead performance is so compelling. And I think Germany Year Zero is kind of missing that. So I can't really attach to it on like 2 very significant levels. If the writing's not there, I'm like, well, I mean, maybe the guys are doing the good though. If the directing's not there, I'm like, but that's fine. It looks fine. But like the visual and the story is not there for me, so I couldn't care any less than I already don't.
That's fair. And you know what? That's part of the thing I love about movies is you can watch a bunch of people watch the same movie and have completely different reactions to it. That's what makes this shit interesting. We'll move on to the next challenge, which was a film released in 1953. I'll kick this one off. I went last time. I'll kick this one off. I picked Niagara for us to watch. Marilyn Monroe starring noir film, and it's all right. It's good. I'll say this: it's good. It's shot very well. The performances, for like the most part, are quite good. I think this is one of the best performances I've seen Marilyn Monroe give. Although, granted, haven't seen very many of her movies. I thought she was very good in this. It kept me pretty invested, even if I guessed the reveal of whose body it was under the sheet that made Marilyn Monroe pass out. Even if I did guess that 10 minutes before the movie told us, I still found it to be interesting. It's just it felt longer than it was. Like, it's a 90-some minute movie, but it felt quite a lot longer. It seemed like it meandered quite a bit. Just, you can tell there's potential there. It just didn't connect. It just didn't fully work for me. Joseph Cotten shows up, which is always a nice surprise. I really like a lot of his other work. If you haven't seen Shadow of a Doubt, directed by Hitchcock, definitely check that out. Probably my favorite performance of his. This movie exists and has its moments, but overall just didn't fully connect with me. How about you two?
Yeah, about the same. Like, it was fine. Like, I didn't like actively hate it, but I didn't like love it either. It looked beautiful. The way that it looked was gorgeous. And yeah, Marilyn Monroe, those shiny red lips, like, I was feeling that. It was a little ridiculous though. Like, every time she woke up, she had the shiny red lips. She was in the shower, had shiny red lips. So like, that was a bit ridiculous for me, but at the same time, I'm here for it because I like shiny red lips. Yeah, I just wish the like mystery and the drama of it all was stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, it's not like a bad movie. I would, I guess, watch it again, but like, I'm not gonna go out of my way by any means.
Sure.
That's fair.
It's like a little airport novel kind of movie. Like you bought a, like, you're like, well, my flight's not that long. I just need like a couple of hours. I don't, like this is a solid book. It's not like supposed to be, it's not even necessarily even trying. It's one of 2 people's bodies that that is under the thing. It's not like a lot of, her whole family didn't come. It's one of 2 people that are underneath that sheet. The cast is 8 people. Just, just, it's fine. I did like kind of wistful Marilyn Monroe. She has a great scene where she's like just leaning up against like some steps, and it's just her in this like very sparkly dress. She's just staring out in the sunset talking. And you're like, this is great. This can't possibly go wrong with your jealous husband here. This can't possibly go wrong. She's just talking about music or whatever. That's like a fun play for Marilyn Monroe. She's like very much, at least as far as I've seen, like this like very airheady like character actress. Oh no, like whatever. And in this, she gets to like be a little bit more wistful and playful, and that's a fun look for her. I like that.
Yeah, that's fair. We will go to Melissa next. Tell us about your pick.
Yeah. So I chose From Here to Eternity. I'm pretty sure it's in our opening. It's that movie that has the makeout scene on the beach. That's literally all I knew about the movie going into it.
Yeah.
And that's
fair.
pretty much all that I kind of concluded with. I really feel like this movie is incredibly overrated. It has a star-studded cast. It's a war movie. So I get like why it was probably really, I don't know, well regarded and praised. But yeah, just watching it in 2023 for the first time, I thought it was fine. Again, I feel like a lot of the movies this month were this way, to be honest. Yeah, like this movie was fine. Like again, nothing inherently bad with it. It was fun to see Donna Reed because I only really know her from It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know if I've actually ever seen her in anything else, maybe, but it was kind of fun seeing her in a different role. Also, Montgomery Clift. He was the hot priest in I Confess, so that was fun to see him again. Again, there was like it was like, oh, that person. But yeah, I don't know. Like overall, I thought the performances were strong, but I don't know. The story's pretty forgettable for me. And then it was just like, oh, Pearl Harbor. Okay. So that was my experience with the film. What about you guys?
I don't. I think. Well, we covered this on Picture This a while back, and I think I remember liking it, like a pretty like like, oh yeah, this is nice. This is like kind of this chill vibey movie, and then you are hit with surprise Pearl Harbor, and you're like, where did that come from? I mean, I knew where we were, but why did you do that? That's a weird ending for a movie that is otherwise like, will this guy join the boxing team? Oh no, a crime. Like, he's not. Oh no, I'm dating my commanding officer's wife. I hope no one finds out. Like, it's that kind of movie, and it ends with Pearl Harbor, and you're like, whoa, easy with that. It's the ending makes it significantly worse.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the ending and all those storylines just wrapped up, you'd be like, sure. But then it goes surprise Pearl Harbor, and you're like, oh, why? Why'd you do that?
No, I completely agree with that. Yeah, it almost in a way feels like this is like a post-war like people like hanging out or something, and then yeah, it just feels weird, like tonally. But yeah, it happens. So.
Yeah. I really enjoy this film. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it for the show. I saw it fairly recently for Picture This, when we covered it for Best Picture winners. I think the performances are all great. Deborah Kerr might give my favorite. I don't know. Like I go back and forth in my head on who I think gives my favorite performance. But I think Deborah Kerr is fantastic. I think Montgomery Clift is great. This has one of my favorite scenes in like, if I were to redo top 100 scenes, the scene would definitely make the list. When it's after Sinatra's character dies. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't seen this movie. After Sinatra's character dies, and I believe it's Pruitt who plays the bugle. He plays it in the middle of the yard, basically, like where the barracks are. He plays Taps, which is the song you hear every Remembrance Day when at the Remembrance Day ceremonies, and it's just one of the most emotional scenes for me. It works well. I didn't think that the Pearl Harbor jump scare was executed all that poorly. If we're talking historical event jump scares that were executed poorly in Best Picture winners, you can go way worse because Cavalcade has a Titanic jump scare, and
It's not a jump
that's the thing
scare.
that's the thing that happens in that movie. But
Noted.
don't watch Cavalcade. It's a waste of time, and
All right.
That's true.
it's absolute shit. Anyway, From Here to Eternity, very good. Rather enjoyed it. We'll probably watch again like next year. It'll probably be one that I revisit sooner than later. Alex, you've got the last movie for this week's challenge. Tell us about the Vincent Price of it all.
So we have reached the only point of the show that I care about, and that is when we got to talk about Vincent Price. So Vincent Price was in a whole slew of movies that eventually got remade into like more like contemporary movies, and House of Wax is one of them. I can't say it's like one of the good ones. He wasn't really in that many actually like good to great movies. I think House of Wax is a pretty good time though. Basically, Vincent Price plays a kind of wax sculptor. He makes these like the kind of things that like they get the during the Raw Dark like famously there's like a wax museum of like famous people. He does that, but for like historical like people. The thing is he's really good at it, and it becomes a fairly valuable sounding, like they say like $25,000 exhibit is worth, and you're like, is that a lot? I don't know. Is that a lot in 50s money? Sure, I guess. And his exhibit unfortunately gets set to flames and somebody collects the insurance money on it, and I guess it's a lot of money. 25,000 doesn't sound like a whole lot, but apparently it was. And then the killings begin, which really there's only two halves to every Vincent Price movie. There's before the killings begin and after the killings begin. After the killings begin is when bodies go missing and stuff starts happening. Vincent Price's character is allegedly killed in this horrific fire in which he loses all of his sculptures, and ultimately, surprise, he ain't dead. Vincent Price is back, baby. And weirdly enough, no idea why or how, when Vincent Price comes back, it's around the time the killings start, and the two may or may not be connected. Someone is killing people, and then a different person probably is taking those bodies, stealing them, and then turning them into wax figurines. We don't know why, but they ended up in Vincent Price's House of Wax. Pretty crazy. I hope no one finds out. And that's really and that's what House of Wax is really about. I hope people leave Vincent Price alone, because he's got a pretty good business going on. I hope Vincent Price is not involved in whatever this other racket is. It's fun. He's like a very hammy actor. He knows what kind of movie he's in. He knows how like ridiculous the movie is, and so he's like, fine, I'm only gonna try a little bit. I'm talking 20% Price. That's all you need. You just need a sprinkle of Price. You just need a little bit of Vincent Price. That's all you need. The premise is weird. It's also like, this doesn't do anything. It's shot in 3D. And so they really wanted you to know that. There's like a really long scene where a guy is doing like paddle pong, and he's like, right. And he's just like, look out, ladies and gentlemen, look out. Whoa, this one's coming right at you. This one's coming for the popcorn. Like, he's clearly talking to the camera. And you're like, stop. Please stop. And then he stops and you're like, come back. It's all right. You can come back. No, that guy was having a good time. It's House of Wax is entertaining if you know what movie you're putting on. If you're expecting the highest of high art, you will be somewhat disappointed. But if you're just expecting Vincent Price hobbling around going, ooh, yes, I see you've noticed my Joan of Arc. Like, you're gonna have a fine time. You're gonna have a fine time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You could say The Price is Right. And,
always. Yeah, right, it is.
and Alex, I just have to say, I love when you describe movies. It makes me so
It's my
happy.
favorite thing to listen to, honestly.
It makes me so happy. No, this
Worked
was
really
such a
hard on this.
this was such a fun time. Like, yeah, I love this Vincent Price. Like, he's just one of those actors where, like, if he's in the movie, you know, you're gonna have a fun time. This one, I just kept thinking, like, what was it like in 1953 going to the movie theaters and seeing this, like, in 3D? Like, what a time.
Was this with like the blue and red 3D glasses? Like what 3D are we talking about?
I believe so.
Probably, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure this is the first or one of the first, and I don't know. I just kept thinking about, like, what was that movie experience like back then. I just found myself kind of thinking about that a lot throughout the movie. But yeah, this was great time. I actually had not seen the Paris Hilton one. Now I'm kind of more intrigued to see it.
You definitely should.
Just for a comparison.
The remake has Paris Hilton?
Yeah, that was like the hook. The hook was like Paris Hilton's the scream queen in that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was just one I missed, even though I was definitely like the person to market it to back then. I just have not seen it.
Fair. Yeah, this movie is a time. I had a lot of fun with it. Like, there was never a point where I was like checking my phone, like, oh, when is it? How much longer is it? I had a pretty good time all the way through. There's definitely some comedic parts to this movie. Like there's a part where I don't. Oh, it just left my head. Whatever. There's things in this movie that probably aren't supposed to be comedic, but they are, because there's a part in this movie. It's a big climactic moment of the movie where they're fighting in this basement lab basically, and someone falls into the vat of boiling wax and instant death. Nothing there, just dead. Nothing. I don't know why, but for some reason I'm just like, okay. Vincent Price is the fucking man. I love him so much in everything I've seen him in so far. He's my kind of actor. I rather enjoyed this film, and he's a big reason why. I had a good time. There's not much more to it. Now I want to. I'm the opposite of you, Melissa, where I am not intrigued for the Paris Hilton one. That's not something I think I'll visit, unless John gives me some weird horror strength in Melee. I don't know. then and it's somehow in there. I don't know. Well, we'll see. Week 42 is a classic Universal monster film, and two of us picked the same one, so we'll start with the solo pick first. Melissa, tell us about The Mummy.
Yeah, I chose The Mummy, and it was fine. It's interesting. This movie feels more like a silent film in a way, or I almost feel like I wanted it to be a silent film, which is strange. But no, I thought the aesthetic of it all and like the atmosphere was really great. I thought it was like eerie and beautiful to look at. I thought Boris Karloff was great as like the Mummy. It's just kind of, when it comes to the story though, I was not super invested in it. I was not expecting a love story. that kind of took me back. I was like, okay. But I don't know. Overall, the movie's just kind of boring. I hate to say it. It was just kind of lackluster for me. But I could definitely see the inspiration from like movies to come after this for sure from this. But I don't know. It's not my favorite of the Universal monsters, but I'm glad I'm glad I saw it. Like I respect it. I would. It's one of those what I wouldn't mind it being like on in the background at a Halloween party.
That's fair.
Like I don't really want to sit down and like actively watch it again, but like it was just like on in the background. That seems nice.
Yeah, there's like fun sets that they build for it. Some of it, like some of the stuff, like takes place outside and like digging, and that's neat. I like how Boris Karloff, like he said, I'll give you 2 out of 3. I'm either gonna be in that makeup, care, or like you get 3 options. I'm only gonna do 2. I either care, I'm in the makeup, or I like perform. And they were like, "Oh, we gotta get him in the makeup. He has to be in the makeup." So I guess we'll do that, and you're in the movie. I guess that those will be the 3. Those will be the 2 that we take. You just won't have to. And he's like, "Good. I'm not gonna do anything out of monotone. I will stand right here and deliver all of my lines. You will have to shoot around me." And they were like, "I guess that's what we have to do." I sure, yeah, all right. But he just stands there and goes, "Oh no, I couldn't possibly dig up over there." They were like, "Don't you want credit for this fight?" And he's like, "Oh no, I couldn't possibly." Okay. And they are just like, "Yeah, I guess, yeah, we do need a discovery for this. You're right. Oh my goodness, you're the one that made this discovery. That's crazy." He's like, "Yes, I just want to stand here a little bit longer." And they're like, "Okay, we'll keep it open all night for you. Anyway, bye." And then he just stand there and does Boris Karloff things. I don't know. I agree. It's not great, but it's like fine. They got like fun sets. I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, this movie exists. It's probably my least favorite of the Universal classic monster films I've seen, although to be fair, I've seen like 4. My brother in Christ, what part of "whoever opens this box will be cursed forever" did you not understand? It was very clear.
Fine print.
Fucking hell.
Gotta read it.
I don't know. This movie has its it has its qualities like that really work, like the makeup and Boris Karloff. That's probably it.
Her wig is fun. I like her wig, where
You know
it's
what?
like,
That's fair.
or her hair. Like her hair is fun, but
The hair is fun. But yeah, no. It was way more. I don't like to call movies boring because a lot of the movies that I like people say are boring, like the Lord of the Rings movies, Spence. But that's neither here nor
What?
there. Don't ask me. Well, this movie was just a little boring to me. I just couldn't get invested. Wasn't my thing. Unfortunately. Yeah. Oh boy. Do we have a movie for you? It's The Invisible Man. Fucking rules. Okay. I want to start this off by saying what they were able to accomplish in 1933, 90 whole years ago, with like you can tell he's there in a lot of the shots, but like I was very impressed with how they were able to pull off like the invisible effects with Claude Rains the whole time. I thought it was fantastic. I wasn't sure what kind of movie it was going to be. Like I figured it was going to be one of those movies where you can see him for the first half, and then the second half is when he turns invisible and all the hijinks ensue. Nah, he's invisible from frame 1. And when he shows up in that town and is like, look, people, I just need a room and I need to be left the fuck alone. And none of them listen. And shit goes wild after that. I mean, that's kind of on them. He was very clear. Leave me the fuck alone. They did not. This is way more violent than I expected it to be. Like, there are stunts in this movie that I wasn't expecting. There's a scene with a train. That's like I had heard there was something involving a train in this movie. That's all I knew about it. It goes over the top pretty quick. And the scene with the car off the cliff as well was pretty wild. I was definitely taken aback by that. There's a moment in this movie where the people in the town that he's at are like, they're running to get this police officer, and and they're like, oh, he's assaulted the lady who runs the hotel and almost murdered her husband. And I shit you not, the police officer's exact immediate response to that is, oh, and then he just walks. It is the weirdest thing, but I love it. It just works. I had a great time with this. I'm glad I finally got to see it, and I want to rewatch it. Like, it's genuinely a very well-made movie and funny. It has more humor in it than I was expecting. Alex.
I don't remember who said it. I think it was Melissa. He's just a silly little guy. Yeah, this whole movie is like a Pinky in the Brain episode. Like, it's
You're right.
oh no, it's like, how are we gonna do this? We're gonna take over the world. How are we gonna do that? I'll be invisible, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. And then at the end, it's like, I shouldn't have did that. My bad. That was on me. My bad. Yeah, it's just like, I agree. They were able to do a lot more. That Jack also didn't explain the movie at all.
No.
A guy is like, I'll be invisible. I'll be invisible for a while. You shall be my partner. And then what are we gonna do? Things. Okay, great. And then the cops are like, how do we go about this? Catching someone whose crimes are inherently impossible to spot, because that is how the law used to work. You like, if you committed a crime, someone would go, aha, I saw you do that. I will tell the police, and I will be the one that stands there and go, he did it. But now the cops were just like, so no one saw him do it. Okay, how do we get someone if we can't? Oh, okay. Let's see. How are we gonna do this? That's one idea, and that's all we've got. Okay, all right, we'll figure this out. It's everyone doing the "I'll figure this out" dance until the movie ends. It's fine. It's pretty chill. I like it. It's fine.
I don't have too much to add, but yeah, I thought it was great. I thought God, what's his name? Claude Rains. His performance was great, especially considering, like Jack said, like he's pretty invisible for the majority of the time, so it's a good voice performance, because that's more what is happening. But yeah, I was really impressed by like the effects of it all, and yeah, his little hijinks and just kind of pulling on pranks on people. It was a fun time. I would definitely watch this again.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be an annual like Halloween time, like spooky season watch for me. I had a lot of fun with it. With that, we'll get to the second to last challenge for this week. A film by Frank Capra. I'm not really sure where to go for this. We'll start with Alex.
Okay. Sure, if he wants this. So, Meet John Doe is the story. Every movie should start with a suicide, I think. I think. I'm kidding. Meet John Doe doesn't literally start with a suicide. It starts with a suicide note. It is important to know that for this purpose, you should know that the suicide note is fake. It is written by a fired newspaper employee who just needs to print a final headline. She is told to finish the story that she is working on, so she's like, "I'll give you a headline." Um, and as kind of like a middle finger, she prints a very like sensational like news story that is, this man is going to jump off of this building, and he is doing so because life is unfair, the system, rabble, 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 politicians, businesses, I don't have a job, rabble, rabble, rabble. And it kind of spirals out of control. She gets her job back because the news is so like the news is too tasty. So people are like, come on, we gotta find out about this John Doe. This John Doe is offered, jobs, is offered marriages, is offered all kinds of stuff. And so they have to get somebody to be John Doe. And people line up to be the person who they say is John Doe. And one of them is hot. And she's like, yeah, him. He's going to be John Doe. No reason why this one, but that vagrant will be.
Pretty much,
John
yeah.
Doe.
You're absolutely right.
Over the course of the movie, John Doe like inspires a lot of people, despite the fact that like the person playing John Doe is like not cool or comfortable with any of this. He signed up for the money. He just wants the money. He didn't really mean for any of this to happen. He's like an ex-ball player who just wants to get his arm fixed and to not necessarily be as much of a vagrant as he was before. But now he's kind of stuck in this very public lifestyle kind of thing. And it spirals out of control. Other seedier journalists get involved. It's like a whole thing. And then at the end, he's like, you know what I'll do? I'll really commit suicide. Now what? Checkmate. And
Oh my god.
and that's the movie. Meet John Doe. Frank Capra was a really weird guy. He was very mistrustful of this. He's not weird because of this, but he was a weird guy. Frank Capra was a weird guy, and he was very mistrustful of like corporations, of people with money. He was inherently like a very liberal filmmaker. We'll find out from the other two movies. He was very suspicious of the system. He did not care for it. He did not like it. He thought anyone that entered in it would be corrupted. And I think Meet John Doe's idea of like, what if journalism but bad, is like kind of amusing to think about. But also, if you watch it, you're like, yeah, but I bet though. Yeah, but probably, right? Like, definitely sometimes, maybe, right? I don't know. Capra was also like a silly guy. He had a weird sense of humor. We'll find out from the other two. And Meet John Doe is not one of his masterpieces. He has a couple of them lying around. Meet John Doe is not one of them, but it is definitely exploring Frank Capra things. If you watch the masterpieces and you're like, yeah, I vibe with this, and you want more, Meet John Doe is there.
Yeah, I had a weird connection, I guess, and I don't know really why, but watching this movie, I like the moment I ended it, I was just like, okay, so Frank Capra reminds me of that scene in Barbie where they're all dancing and having a good time, and then she's like, have y'all thought about death? Like, I feel like that's Frank Capra.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of his movies, it's like disguised as like these kind of wholesome, good little stories or whatever, but then it's like, what's going on here? He's actually trying to say something, and it's kind of dark, or something.
You ever thought about the corruption of journalism?
Exactly. That's, I don't know why. When I like ended this movie, that's like what came to me. Yeah, no, this movie was interesting. Also, Barbara Stanwyck just reminds me of my aunt. So every time I see her, I'm like, Claudia? So it's just like weird it's just weird when I see her sometimes in movies. It just looks like a young version of my aunt. No, this I thought this was good. It was kind of darker and kookier than I was expecting. I didn't really know what to expect because I knew absolutely nothing besides the title and that it was directed by Frank Capra.
Yeah. I had no clue what this movie was about. It's just one of those Frank Capra movies where you hear the title and you're just like, huh, okay, that could be about literally anything. I had a pretty good time with it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm forgetting the dude's name right now, but I thought he was very good.
John
Gary,
Doe.
yeah. No. I'm trying to think of his actor though. Is the thing.
Oh,
John
is
Doe.
it
Gary Cooper.
Gary Cooper?
Gary Cooper. Yeah, I don't know why that name just was not in my head. Whatever. Yeah. Barbara Stanwyck is great. It's definitely got some great moments, especially the speech he gives over the radio. That's probably like the standout scene of the movie for me, in my opinion. That's kind of where it. I was kind of like, how do I feel about this? This is kind of like an odd concept. Okay, we'll see where it goes. That's the moment where it was just like, okay, yeah, this is something I'm like. This is a movie I'm pretty on board with. Definitely get what you're saying about Capra, though, with the Barbie comparison. That is a very apt comparison. Yeah. All in all, it's not my favorite Capra. In fact, I think it's in my bottom 2 or 3, but it's still 4 stars. Like, he's made a lot of good movies. It's State of the Union is my least favorite, but like this is better than that. This is better than that.
Yes, it is.
Yes. We'll move on to I'll go next. We'll move on to Lady for a Day, which, what if the mob cared about this one old lady, and helped her lie to her daughter and her daughter's fiance and her daughter's fiance's dad? I think I can't remember. I watched a lot of movies in the past few days. A lot of the information is just gone out of my head. But yeah, no. This is honestly just a super charming movie. This one old lady whose name is Apple Annie. She sells apples. She's not. She does not have very much like money. She's just kind of living her life in this big city, New York, I believe, and she's posing to her daughter as this like wealthy woman who's living her best life in this hotel. And then her daughter's just like, hey, my fiance and I are coming from Spain to visit you. So yeah, be ready for that. And she goes into a panic, and these basically mobsters are just like, I mean, we can help her out, right? She's a sweet old lady. We can help her out. And it's kind of just it's one of it's the earliest it's one of Capra's earliest films, and you can tell he's still finding his footing at points, but there's never any moment where you're just like, this is bad or this is an amateurish thing. It's kind of just it's what The Lady Vanishes is to Hitchcock. This is to Capra. If I'm trying to compare, it's an early example where you're like, these are the Capra-isms. These are the things that this director will go on to perfect in his later movies. But it's a very early example of it. Also, fun fact about this movie: this was the first time Capra was nominated for Best Director. And it was up there for picture, director, actress, and screenplay, I think. And the presenter for Best Director just simply said, "Come on up here, Frank," or "Come get it, Frank," or something like that.
He did not win.
He was not the Frank that won. So there were 2 Franks on stage. The director of Cavalcade, that movie again, had won Best Director. The Titanic. Random movie. Yeah, that movie won Best Director, and he was very embarrassed about that. And then he went on to win the next year for It Happened One Night. So all's well that ends well, right? No, movie's fun. I had a good time. It's just a very lighthearted film. Yeah, definitely. It's right above Meet John Doe on the ranking for me for Capra.
Yeah, it was good. I really liked Apple Annie.
Yes.
I don't know if I really liked anyone else. So that was kind of a problem for me, and I just kind of wish it was funnier. But at the end of the day, I still had a good time with it. And I do appreciate that the lead is like an older female. You don't typically see that, so that was nice to see. But I do love the trope or whatever of like lying who you are kind of thing in movies. Like I don't know. I feel like I tend to like those kind of movies, and then it's like, this is the real me.
Yep.
Type of thing. So yeah.
I love all of the. There's one scene. There's like the main, like mobster, and he's like the most like cartoon interpretation of like a movie mobster. He's like, I can't gamble without my apple. See, I always win if I get an apple from Apple Annie. Oh no, Apple Annie's in trouble. We can all come on. Round up the boys. There's one really charming scene I thought where all the like gangsters are practicing their lines for the big dinner. And it's really cute. Like all of these grown men, some of them are murderers probably. And they're all like, no, you have to say it like this. I don't know what it is. It just tears me up inside. Like I love the idea. And I think I've been very public about this. I love we have to save the rec center movies. And this is, hey guys, listen, Apple Annie's daughter cannot find out she's poor. We can't have it. I don't know why. No one has explained to me why. But she can't find out. It's really important. I think that's cute. And I do love the idea of if you keep lying through your teeth and you get as many people involved as possible, it can still work out. Just keep lying. Just lie right through those teeth. I will support that 100% of the time. Like I said, Frank Capra has a weird sense of humor, and he was still refining it. There's a remake of this movie that Frank Capra directed. He was like, I can go for another. It's called something different. It's called A Pocket Full of Miracles. He did Lady for a Day in 1933, and Pocket Full of Miracles came out in the 1960s. So it was he had another swing at it. I don't know if it's any better. I haven't seen it. But if you are interested, maybe that.
Okay.
I am looking for this movie right now. We'll move on to Melissa's pick. Melissa, tell us about Mr. Smith.
Yeah, so Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I basically have been hearing about this movie ever since I've joined this community. And I now have finally seen it, and it was really great. With that said, maybe it was a little overhyped, and I do want to watch it again. But overall, like, it's a really good movie. It's one of those movies where it's just like, it's a classic, good, solid movie. I thought James Stewart's performance, I mean, he stole the show, like 100%. Like he is this movie. Everyone else is just living in it. And I weirdly feel like I've seen this movie before. It's called Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde.
You're not wrong.
It's basically the same movie, except this is much better, I would say.
Yes.
Clearly. But I was just like, whoa, this is very similar. And now I see the homage to that movie. But no, I mean, it's a classic like underdog story, and I do find it interesting. I didn't get to read on it too much, but I read on it a little bit that like this was like a problematic movie back then, like is viewed as like an anti-America movie and all this stuff, which I find really interesting. Yeah, I want to go down that rabbit hole more and like kind of read up more on like what was happening when this movie first came out. But yeah, I thought it was great. Like I have like no notes really. Like it's a good movie.
Yeah. I found this movie to be very interesting the first time I saw it. It's not my favorite of Jimmy Stewart's performances because It's Wonderful Life exists. However, this is an excellent film. Everyone is firing on all cylinders here. Jimmy Stewart, Claude Rains, Jean Arthur is great in this film. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. There's that the filibuster scene is like up there for like movie scenes for me. I really love that scene. There's times where I open YouTube and I look up like that scene. Like I sometimes just watch random scenes from movies, and that's one of them that I'll watch. It's phenomenal. I want to rewatch it. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it for this because this month was very, very busy for me, just in terms of life. But I want to rewatch it soon.
I like Jean Arthur's face. She every like couple minutes, Frank Capra, the editor, was like, "It's been a minute since we've seen Jean Arthur. Is she okay?" And they would cut to this like very tight close up of Jean Arthur's face at like this angle, and the light would hit her, and she would be smiling or frowning, and you'd be like, "Don't worry, Jean Arthur, it's gonna be okay." And she'd just be looking hopeful or sad or something, and you'd be like, "Don't worry, Jean, it's gonna be fine. Jimmy Stewart's gonna fix it." No, this actually pairs really well with like Meet John Doe in the concept of like, don't worry, the normal guy can do it. It's these people, you know what I mean? Like it's these journalists, it's these politicians, but the average person, if you put them in Congress or in public, they'll do a good job. It's the people that are already there that are the problem. Frank had like a really, and I did like the same research that like, yeah, people at the time were like, "That's not true, Frank. Don't you think you're going a little far?" And he was like, "No, it's important I tell the story." No, we're gonna do it. And yeah, it was just he had a funny way of looking at things that turned out to be more accurate than I think they wanted to think about at the time. And now we just watch and we're like, "Oh, you think it's that simple, huh? That's hilarious." We still can't get that law passed. What law? It doesn't matter which law. Any of the laws. That's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah. I just looked it up. Pocket Full of Miracles. Betty Davis plays Apple Annie in that movie.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm in.
It's
I gotta watch that.
1961. I have to watch it now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll get there eventually. Eventually, I will see that movie. If Betty Davis is in it, I'm in. Yeah, we come to the last challenge for this month. And it's October, so naturally, we had to have a horror film. We'll go in the same order that we went last time. So I have a lot of thoughts on a certain film. Couple films in particular, but a certain film. Alex,
Hey,
tell us about the Vincent Price of it all.
I can't believe we're starting with this one. All right. Okay. So this is a trend in film that I think people know about but don't really think about that often, and that is the weird thing we had with Edgar Allan Poe, as his stories, his short stories, his poems became like public domain. They were like, I guess we can just use them, and they can just make whatever they want out of them. Whoever can, you can if you want. And they decide like Mask of the Red Death. I haven't read Mask of the Red Death in a minute, but I don't think it's exactly like this. The film Mask of the Red Death is about Francesca and her relationship to Prince Prospero, played by the fantastic Vincent Price. She is kidnapped from her village that is then burned down by Prince Prospero. He's not the hero of the story. And her toy fiance, the man she loves, and her father are taken by Prince Prospero. The village is burned down. Vincent Price is an asshole. And they are taken to his castle. Vincent Price, to be fair, is a little bit upset. He has just been told that the day of reckoning is at hand, and that his time is up, basically. There is a plague spreading amongst the common people that they call the Red Death. You don't really know what the Red Death is necessarily. You do know that it has a figure that is dressed mostly in red. And the one time you see it, or the first time you see it, you do notice that it is someone that is pretty much just covered in grape jelly. They really covered whoever that lady was in grape jelly.
Damn it, Alex.
Jack, are you okay? Okay. It's like, where'd you go?
They covered that lady in grape jelly, and she seemed to be in a lot of pain. It doesn't look very comfortable, is what I'm saying. Francesca and company is taken back to the castle. Francesca is to be Prospero's something. It's like implied to be sexual. Prospero's girl, fiance, wife, whatever, is upset about it. Surprise! Everyone here is rich, and they appear to be worshiping Satan. That's fun. They are too rich, all of them, and they are really into this sort of decadent lifestyle. They are so rich that they pretend to be animals on the floor, and they make fun of people dancing. They make fun of each other. They don't care who lives and dies. That's the kind of rich that they are. They're like, I don't know, Jeff Bezos rich, something. Anyway, eventually Francesca starts poking around the castle, and she's like, is there a Satan cult going on here? What's going on in this cult? And it turns out there is. They're all running from this Red Death. The rich people have holed up, trying to get away from it. But eventually the Red Death does in fact come for them all. And that is the movie, The Mask of the Red Death. Vincent Price plays Prospero, and he is having a great time. Again, he's not really like going all out. I don't know that he ever did, but he just had this way of talking that is really inviting. He's very charming as Prospero. There's also a guy called what's the Stooge's name? His like number 2 dork. The guy that gets dressed up in the ape. Yeah, in the gorilla outfit.
I'll double check. Give me a sec.
It's something that reminded me of pasta. Alfredo, something.
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Ludovico?
Sure. Is that the character's name or the actor's name? It doesn't matter. There
Nigel
are a lot of
Green
like
is the actor. Ludovico
Sure.
is the character. Ludovico,
Maybe.
I don't know.
There's a lot of like fun performances like that where everyone is trying to like out evil each other. Some of them are like more subtle than others. Like Vincent Price, weirdly enough, is the subtle one out of those two. They have a whole like improv class scene where they're like, "You, madam, you are a worm. Act like one." And then someone else go, You are better than her. You are a goat. Act like a goat." And then the guy's like, "I'm a goat." And that's like the kind of like decadent, like whatever, that they are for. It's kind of hokey. But like they really did go to like a big set and film all these people. They did get all these people into costume. They did work the lights. They did have that kind of fun with it. So it's not without its charm. However, for like horror films, it is somewhat lacking in like the scare department. And there are outright twists and reveals that make no real sense to anything. They're just like, oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think the film's biggest strength is like, yeah, the set design of it all and the costumes and Vincent Price. Like I loved how it visually looked. I thought it was really colorful and gorgeous. But yeah, I kind of forgot this was a horror film when I was watching it. I just sent you guys some pictures because
I saw.
the when I saw that Fringe mask thing, I was like, oh my god, this is from Midsommar. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's that
Yep.
guy. So that was like interesting. Actually, I have another movie later that also reminded me of some Ari Aster isms. But no, like I would gladly watch this again. Like I thought it was fun. It was a little silly, but like it's weird. It's like I feel like it's trying to be campy, but like I don't really know if it was fully successful. Because I feel like it is trying to be kind of serious. So I don't know. The tone is a little weird, but overall, I enjoyed it.
I feel like they were. The director was. Or I don't even know because the director was Roger Corman. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was trying to be all serious, but like, the actors were like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun." that's the vibe all of them came to that movie with, except the lead actress who was trying her best to be in a serious horror film. But no, Vincent Price is the fucking man. I love this man. Evil though he may be in this film, he's just so damn charming in everything. Yeah, this this is a movie that I didn't really know what to expect going in, and it definitely wasn't that. I had no clue this was an Edgar Allan Poe thing until Alex brought it up. If it was in the opening credits or whatever, I missed that.
Yeah, it
I
is.
don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I missed it. I don't know what else I can say there. That that kind of surprised me. Yeah. Definitely would rewatch. Not like high on the list, but like it's a good time. I had a pretty good time with this one.
See, this is the movie that I would put on in the background of a Halloween party.
Yeah.
Like a kind of like
That's fair.
aesthetic, you
Mhm.
know, whatever movie, and then you stop to watch the scene where you're like, "You are a worm," and then you're like, "We should do that. We should do that."
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
a kangaroo. Figure it out.
I agree with that for the most part. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, this movie's fun. It falls into that similar camp of House of Wax, where it's just a fun time, and Vincent Price is top tier. I love that man. Yeah, we'll go from that Satan movie to the other Satan movie, and let me tell you, this is probably my biggest blind. We're watching for anyone that's not paying attention. There's no one watching right now. We're talking Rosemary's Baby. Probably my biggest blind spot, or one of my biggest blind spots in movies. Now that I've cleared a bunch of them, like 2001 and whatnot. I wasn't sure. Like I had a general idea of what to expect because the big thing I heard about this movie, other than the director of it, was the word Antichrist. That is the only thing that I had ever heard associated with this film. And so I had like a general idea of what to expect, but even then, it still found ways to surprise me. Mia Farrow, holy shit, what a performance from her. I've never seen anything John Cassavetes has ever acted or in or directed, but he was very good. I want to say the direction was just awful, like so terrible, because I'm not a fan of the man, but I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't very well done. This is a movie that disturbs me. I watched half of it one night and I went, okay, yeah, that's a good spot to leave off for now, and I'll come back to that tomorrow. And then I woke up, rolled over in bed, opened my computer, and watched the rest, and then went to work. and I was not okay for a good chunk of that day. It was, yeah, it's a lot. This is a movie that I can see myself revisiting. Weirdly enough, it's disturbing. It's weird. There's scenes in this movie that I want purged, just deleted from my brain. But it's definitely an experience and not a movie I will forget anytime soon. Definitely lives up to all the hype. Yeah, I had also, I haven't mentioned her, but she won the Oscar for this. Ruth Gordon. Oh, goodness, that's a performance that is very much deserving of the Oscar that year. Someone else.
So this was the one movie I did not get to rewatch, but this is like an all-timer for me. And I watched it not that long ago. I feel like I watched it a few months ago. This is my jam. This is the kind of horror movies I love. Very psychological, slow burns. They get you under, like, disturbing, unsettling. Under, like, it kind of seeps in you. It stays with you. Like, those are the ones I love and like to revisit. So, like, the Rossellinis of the world, that's fine. You like that. That's a different kind of pain. Like, this is the kind of pain movie thing that I like. It's just like really disturbing. No, yeah, Mia Farrow's performance is amazing, and I love from like beginning to end, like the transformation of her character physically. Like, she looks like a skeleton. I feel like, with like how they do her makeup, like she looks so kind of dead and so tired looking. Compared to, like, at the beginning, she looks very lively, has her cute little hairstyle, and like that gets removed, and even her clothing too. Just all the little details of it all. But yeah, also just considering I'm in the time of my life where I'm trying to have a baby, this is like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, fair. Also, I didn't know that. Congrats.
Well, I'm trying.
Yeah, trying. Yeah. Still. Alex.
I had a okay, so the movie itself is like very well done. It is weird to be saying that about a Roman Polanski movie. I generally tend to avoid movies made by monsters, but like the structure, acting, like it's all there. The thing that, like, even more so than this like very intense scene, like in like there's like this very intense scene, two things really stuck out, and one of them is completely not like meaningless and nonsensical, and that is like they just got this like wonderful apartment in New York City. It's like a nice place. They're having dinner in the dark by themselves, and they're like, "Do you want to have sex?" And the other one's like, "Yeah, all right." Like that is like really funny to me, and I don't know why. The other thing, and the thing that like really bothered me throughout the whole of the movie, is how people talked to Rosemary. And it's honestly the thing that builds up sympathy more than anything else in the movie is like people would walk into a room, look at her, and go, like they would go, "You look like shit. Are you good? Are you alive?" Like, all of her friends would walk in. She has a party at some point in the movie, and they all walk in, and they're like, "You look awful. What is happening to you?" And like, she does look weird. Like, that's true. Something is happening to her. But like, do you want to relax? You just got here. First of all, she hasn't even started freaking out yet. She walks into the room and she's got a haircut. And her husband's like, "Did you pay for that? What the hell happened to you?" And I'm like, fucking relax, dude. She just got home. Fucking chill out, bro. Yeah, just like the way people were talking to her, I was like, she better start knocking people out soon, because I don't like how this is starting for her. Just talking about the movie itself, I did really like it. Again, really, I'm trying really hard not to compliment it, but it is a really like cool movie to watch. Structurally, this a lot of isolation that is forced onto her. And that is really kind of because it's now you and her on this side. Like you're with her and you're like, no, get out of there, girl. And she wants to get out of what the situation that she's in. And you're like, come on, you and me, we'll fight it out together. And so that's like a really interesting kind of device, this like intense isolation that's like forced on her. I thought that was like really well done. All of it is like really weird. All the stuff with the older people that you immediately are like, I don't like you. I don't trust you. This guy's weird. Fuck this guy. All that stuff is really well done. I really did enjoy it. I hated kind of how the movie ends. And I know that I meant to, but it is, it's just a part of it. Overall, I would say I very, very much enjoyed it. I don't know how often I'll rewatch it because it is quite long and kind of emotionally hurtful. But, I think maybe like once a year is like a good amount of times. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Don't support Roman Polanski, kids. Don't support Roman Polanski. That girl was 13.
Yeah, for me personally, I kind of separate art from the artist because a lot of my favorite art is by monsters. And yeah, it's a very interesting thing. But anyways.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair. We've done it. We're at the last movie for this month. And Melissa, tell us about The Innocents.
Yeah, this movie was amazing. And I'm very obsessed. I chose it because one, it was a huge blind spot for me, but also it's like very highly rated and regarded. So I was like excited to check it out. And yeah, it lived up to that for sure. Yeah, general premise is Deborah Kerr plays this governess that's taking care of these two children and things get spooky. Yeah, I just can't get over like the cinematography. It's some of the best I've seen, and like the way that they use like lighting, and it's very detailed, like visually. Like I really want to rewatch it just for that alone. Like there's a lot of detail going on, a lot of symbolism, which I love. I love those. I'm a sucker for aesthetics and symbolism, so I'm just like, yes, this is very much up my alley. It's very gothic. The atmosphere is very eerie. I thought the child actors were fantastic. Particularly Miles, I would say, the boy. Like I thought he was a standout, and it can be difficult with child actors because it's that line of like being realistic but not being too annoying. So it's just the reality. Kids are kind of annoying. But like when you're watching a movie, it's like you don't want to be so annoyed that you're not enjoying them. But anyways, like I just thought his performance was really well done, because he definitely would switch on and off, like being this sweet little boy, but like through his eyes would kind of convey something else. And I thought it was really well done. Yeah, some other Ari Aster things that I feel like I noticed from this movie is the staging of like the ghosts outside. I feel like he had very similar like staging in Hereditary with like the cult people. Like that's what it reminded me of. I was like, okay. And then also the little boy with like the bird. I was just like, okay. I'm like, Ari Aster's watched this film.
Sure.
Yep.
But I do really appreciate the blending of like reality and fantasy, because I feel like you could really interpret a lot of different scenes. Like, was it real? Was it not? Like even how we get introduced to Flora was like through a reflection. So I don't know. Like I'm pretty blown away by this one. This one was probably my favorite, I think, of the entire month. So yeah. What
Yeah.
did you guys think? I'm gonna shut up now.
Yeah, this was absolutely. You're good, by the way. This was absolutely my favorite of the month. Uh, I had no expectations going into this. I had not heard of this movie until you picked it for View 52, and I didn't have any frame of reference as to what it was about. My expectations were blown out of the water. Deborah Kerr is giving just a tour de force performance in this film. She is phenomenal. The actor who played Miles is like really good in this. The cinematography is gorgeous. There's some moments. There's a moment in this film where where Deborah Kerr's character is just wandering through the house, looking for the source of these noises that she's hearing, these people speaking, and there's some really creative shots in there. You get a really good overhead shot of her in that scene. You've got some really cool uses of lighting. When you see the ghost outside the window in the like big confrontation scene, and you just see the ghost like smiling. It's so unsettling. It's a movie that like I said, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I'm glad. If you haven't seen this movie, go into it as blind as possible. That's the best advice I can give you. 61 is such a good year for actresses. I'm not gonna lie to you, but this movie just, it blew me away. One of my favorite first time watches of the year, hands down.
I would say this is probably the most scared I've been in like a minute from any movie. So I think in general you can like just tell the thing is coming. Like something's about to happen. I don't know what it is, but something's happened. We're in a hallway. She's walking slowly. The light's about to go out. Someone's going to jump out from behind her. Something's going to happen. In The Innocents, it's kind of like a roller coaster ride. I love this. Wherever they found this little boy actor, he's fantastic. Because at first you meet him and he's just like, he starts hitting on his governess. But like sometimes little kids will say something like, "Oh, you're a teacher. Oh, I've never had a pretty teacher before," and you're like, "Thanks," or what? Like some kids are like that. Like they've been trained to do, like they saw somebody do it and they saw like, oh, that gets you a positive reaction, I'll do that. And then the kid, he'll also do the thing where he's like, he does something very strange or like very spooky, and then you'll go, "Where did you hear that?" And he's like, anyway, and then you'll just completely avoid the question. You're like, okay, is something wrong with these kids? Is something wrong with this house? Is something wrong with me? Am I imagining this? So there's like levels of gaslighting and levels of like tension being built. And it just keeps stacking. Not that there's always something going on, but if a house is big enough, like eventually it'll start to creak. Now, was that a creak or is something going on? And if you're like one of 3 adults in a house with 2 kids that are running around and maybe more people that are there than you don't know about, was that a creak that the house made? Or is something going on? And that's like a really fun tension builder. All right. Why is that kid outside? That's not normal. It's nighttime. He should be inside. That's where I put him. And so like she's having her journey. Then there's these 2 kids that are having their own similar but very different problems. Like one of these kids is incorrect and the other one might be incorrect. We got to get these kids out of here. We got to figure out what's going on with the kids. oh God, why are there not? Why am I the only adult in this room? It's like a really fun movie. I would say like the scene where you see it, where you see it the first time, that genuinely frightened me, because by that point I was like hooked. I can't look away. I'm invested, and something moving from the background into the foreground is just always going to work. Like that is just textbook, like something that is back here that was moving, that could be normal, moving closer and closer into the foreground. That's always going to work, as opposed to it's not there, suddenly it's there. That's a jump scare. Something moving slowly to the foreground, that's not a jump scare anymore. That is, you weren't paying attention. Now you're frightened. Both of them spike your heart rate. One of them is inherently more natural. One of those was like a boo, gotcha. The other one is a genuine, like, I was terrified for 3.5 seconds. Both are like fine, but I think one of those you're more likely to remember. I'm gonna remember The Innocents for a very long time, whereas I'm not gonna remember a lot of jump scares in movies. And I think The Innocents is, beyond just its scares, is like a really well done movie. Like cinematography, acting, they got fantastic actors for it. Really fun, like visuals. They got a giant spooky castle to play around in. Really had fun with that's there, that's not there. Just like a really well done movie. I really enjoyed The Innocents.
So before we move on, I just have to tell this to Jack.
Yeah.
So this is based off the novel The Turn of the Screw, and Ingrid Bergman on a TV movie I guess it's a show called Ford Star Time. I don't know. There was an episode on The Turn of the Screw, and she's in it. So I just wanted to note that, because I figured that's your girl. Check it out.
I'm gonna write that down somewhere. I don't have paper near me. I'll figure something out.
Okay.
This is going out. Like you can come back to this, Jack.
Yeah,
yes.
And I can also send it to you. But I saw that and I was like, I have to tell Jack that.
Yeah, much appreciated. Thank you so much. Also, thank you for picking The Innocents. It was fantastic. Anyway.
Oh wait, hang on.
Oh.
There was a 2020 version of called The Turning, based on a film based on the same adaptation.
Oh, that's what that movie is?
Yeah, with Mackenzie Davis and Finn Wolfhard.
Oh,
which sounds really interesting, honestly.
I was gonna say probably
you had me, you lost me.
Probably the most popular thing right now is the Haunting of Bly Manor. Like that's another version of this
very
as well.
Similar to this, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess that is. Yeah, I was like, why does Bly ring a bell? Oh, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's been like a lot of, I meant to say that at the very top. There's been like a lot of adaptations, like TV, movie, etc.
That's fair.
Like from this novel.
Good.
That's fair. Yeah. It's definitely one I'm gonna check out, that Ingrid Bergman one. TV movie or TV show episode or not, I'm checking it out. I dropped something. I'll pick it up later. So yeah, that does it for this month. Our next episode will be December 1st at 9 p.m. EST, which we got our episode on time this month. There's no reason to suggest we will not next month. So that is a win for us. The challenges for next month are a Japanese film, best supporting actor / actress winners double feature. It's the last double feature of the challenge. A film with no score and a film featuring Veronica Lake. So with that in mind, what challenge or what movie are you most excited to watch for the challenge next month? Are you okay, Alex?
I'm fine. Is this the month, Jack, or is it the month after?
Oh, no. It's the month, my friend. So,
what month? What's happening? What are you referencing?
So I will tell this story, Alex. So
No. I will tell this story.
okay.
I will tell this story.
Okay.
Because you're gonna make it weird and lame. Put the challenge up. Put the challenge up. Put the challenge up. So, fun fact. When we were putting this list together, this was a very long time ago, almost a year ago now. Time flies, am I right? It was suggested, I don't remember by who, but that one of the challenges, one of the weeks, be Best Supporting Actor / Actress winners double feature. And I said, Jack, does that mean you're going to watch them back to back? And he said, well, yeah, that's what a double feature is. And I said, oh, okay. You didn't research this list, did you? You didn't look at what won Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. You didn't check those lists. And when I was making my list of films to watch, I got to this challenge and I did a little bit of research. And it's important to know that not only am I a silly little boy, if you give me the rule set, I can break it. Not break it, but like bend it so much that like it becomes very unstable. And did you know that there is a film for that in the time frame that we were watching that won both Best Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress? And Jack didn't think about it. He just went, this is a good challenge. I like it. And it is. It's a great challenge. It's fantastic. But we are going to be watching the same movie as a double feature because Jack didn't think of it. And that's what I'm really excited about. That's why I'm here.
What movie?
So that's the thing, though, is that we are going to be watching A Streetcar Named Desire twice. And that
Are you though?
Yeah, I will be watching it back to back.
Lord, I hope not.
That is what I will be doing.
It's really good.
Those of you that
It
aren't
is a really
are
good
going to
movie,
be.
but it's a lot.
Those of you that aren't are gonna. It's gonna be the whole day. I mean, it's a very long movie from what I've been told, so it's gonna be a whole day. But yeah, I do think that there is. I think there is merit to watching a movie, trying to appreciate the Best Supporting Actor, and trying to appreciate the Best Supporting Actress. I think a lot of times you either are drawn to the performance you are drawn to, as opposed to walking in and like going, "No, I'm going to specifically pay attention to you. That's why I'm here. I don't know what the rest of you are going to be doing, but I'm here for that." So it's not that I think this is without merit. It's just the primary benefit is Jack didn't know. And that's really why I'm doing this. I am the monkey's paw that follows Jack around, curling all of his wishes incorrectly. That is what I do.
So would you say that's the one you're most excited about? I think that was what the
No,
question
honestly, I think Throne of Blood is going to be really great. That's going to be one of our last Kurosawa. I think that's going to be a fantastic film. I like Torturing Jack, but like movie wise, Throne of Blood is like a fun Macbeth kind of thing, and that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm also pretty excited for Throne of Blood. Also, what's his fuck? The Peter Lorre, his debut film, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. I've heard great things about it. I'm not excited. Here's the thing. The reason I picked National Velvet as my Best Supporting Actress winner, half of the double feature, is because Anne Revere won that Oscar in 1945, beating out Anne Blythe from Mildred Pierce. And I need to understand, from what I've heard from one Caleb Lil Boatman, tis not a good win. But I will reserve my judgment until I see the movie. Also, I'm just excited to have a week dedicated to Veronica Lake. So, there's that. But Throne of Blood or M.
Yeah, I'm just excited for the Japanese Film Week. I think that's the
That's
one
fair.
that's going to be really exciting, and I'm super excited to watch Good Morning. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it, so I'm glad to finally see it. And I'm excited to revisit National Velvet. That was a repeat for me as a kid at my grandma's house.
Oh, I did not know
So but I
that.
haven't seen it since I was like a kid, so that'll be fun to revisit and be like, oof, or aw.
It'll be on the spectrum of that was good, or it'll be The King and I.
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah. We'll see which one it was. So, with that in mind, thank you all for watching. We'll be back December 1st, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Melissa, for dedicating this year to this awesome, not difficult at all challenge. With me, and I can't wait to. Oh, also, not like in the next couple weeks, but like probably December, the 2024 challenge will be announced. There probably won't be a show for it next year, but there will still be a challenge. We'll figure that out. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I was about to click the intro. We'll see you next time.
Well, nobody's perfect.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.